Hey man, Jake Willie Silly man, aka Mr. Take It Easy. For you and all life easy. Cause you know we told them glizzy. But make sure y'all follow my Twitch, man. Subscribe to my second channel. Everything you need to know about your boy Jay. It's in the description down below. But we got how Michael Jackson was turned into a monster. Just beat it. Just beat it. Like I said, bro, I stay out of this, cause one thing that we have to understand is that we don't know these celebrities. I know a lot of y'all want to be like, Mike would never do that. He would never do that. He would never do that. They did MJ wrong with all them lies, but how do we know his lies? I'm not saying that he did it, because MJ fans go crazy, but how you know he didn't do it? You know what I'm saying? I just say stay neutral when it comes to these things, man. You know what I mean? Stay neutral. You feel me? Honestly, I don't know what the heck going on, bro. I don't know Michael Jackson from a can of paint. You know what I mean? I don't know that man. You feel me? I don't know who he is behind closed doors. I don't know who such and such is. Same thing for Kobe Bryant. He got accused for some, I don't know. Like I said, shout out to my boy Kobe. I just keep it neutral. I don't know what these motherfuckers doing behind the scene. That's the harsh reality when it comes to it. But when it comes to being y'all favorite celebrities, he would not do that. You don't know that motherfucker. You don't know what he would do. But you're just such a huge fan of him that you're blinded by your idolarity. You know what I'm saying? But the harsh reality is you don't know this motherfucker from a can of paint. You never been around Michael Jackson. You never been around none of these motherfuckers, but you talking about he wouldn't do that? How you know he won't do that? You know what I mean? How you know? You feel me? Cause he's Mike. I will be with you. You know what I mean? Cause he sing good. You feel me? Cause he talks like this, man. Sometimes you just gotta beat it. Beat it. I can't believe I said that. Cause he talking like that. You know what I mean? Well, Tom, this motherfucker could be a monster. I'm not saying that he is. I'm just telling y'all the true perspective. Cause you got the MJ fans, dude, man. Don't talk about MJ, man. I just keep it truthful, bro. You know what I mean? What you need to do, built like a sack of laundry, you need to stay neutral. You know what I'm saying? Stay neutral. You know what I mean? Because like I said, bro, you don't know for real. That's the harsh reality. But you just a delusional, built like a sack of laundry motherfucker. You know what I mean? He wouldn't do that, man. He got found and not guilty. Oh, people that get found and not guilty. That don't mean you not guilty, right? That's what motherfuckers love saying. He got found and not guilty, dude. If he did, he would have been found guilty. For example, Trump, you know what I'm saying? He got found and guilty. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of motherfuckers got found and not guilty and was guilty than the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying, bro. When you a celebrity, bro, and when you got money, you get out a whole lot of BS. We gonna act like it's that, So like I said, bro, I don't know what he did. You feel me? I don't know what he didn't do, and I don't know what he did do. All I'm doing is staying neutral. MJ.
In 1993, after being accused of child molestation and becoming the subject of a criminal investigation, Michael Jackson publicly declared his innocence with a pain that was impossible to hide.
Don't treat me like a criminal, because I am innocent. I have been forced to submit to a dehumanizing and humiliating examination by the Santa Barbara County Sheriff Department and the Los Angeles Police Department earlier this week. They served a search warrant on me which allowed them to view and photograph my body, including my penis, my buttocks, my lower torso, thighs, and any other area that they wanted. They were supposedly looking for any discoloration, spotting, blotches, or other evidence of a skin color disorder called vitiligo, which I have previously spoken about. The warrant also directed me to cooperate in any examination of my body by their physician to determine the condition of my skin, including whether I have vitiligo or any other skin disorder. The warrant further stated that I had no right to refuse the examination or photographs, and if I failed to cooperate with them, they would introduce that refusal at any trial as an indication of my guilt. It was the most humiliating ordeal of my life, one that no person should ever have to suffer.
Throughout his career, Michael Jackson faced constant criticism and humiliation, which led to deep insecurities that had been instilled in him since childhood. Although in reality, he never truly had a childhood at all.
And I remember going to the recording studio, there was a park across the street, and
then, like I said, you know, that Michael, what's her name? See, I feel like some people just don't need to be played. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I just feel like some people just don't need to be played. Like, I don't want to go see that Michael movie, bro. No, if you ain't Mike, I don't want to see it. I wanna be like Mike. You know what I'm saying? If you're not Mike, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see no facade Mike. I want to see Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? Same thing for that Tupac movie. I ain't watching no Tupac. I want to see Tupac. You know what I mean? Same thing for that Biggie movie. I don't want to watch Biggie. I want to see Biggie. You know what I mean? I just feel like some people just can't be, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, man. You know, I just feel like, you know, I don't know, bro.
Children playing, and they'd be rooting and making noise, and I would cry. It'd make me sad that I would have to go and work instead.
As a child, Michael had no time for fun. He spent most of his days in the studio under the strict supervision of his father, Joseph Jackson, who was determined to push his children towards success in the music industry. Joseph's methods were extremely harsh, and it left a lasting impact, one that Michael was never able to fully forgive.
How often would he beat you?
Too much.
Would he only use a belt?
Why do you do this to me?
Michael Jackson was born on August 29, 1958, into a working-class family. His mother, Catherine, was a homemaker who occasionally worked as a sales clerk, while his father, Joseph, a former boxer, worked at a steel plant. There were 10 children in the family, and Michael was the 8th. At some point, his father noticed the musical talent of his children and decided to form a group with them. Joseph was driven by an intense desire for success.
Oh, baby, give me one more
chance. To fulfill his
chance.
own unrealized dreams of becoming a great musician. At first, only the older brothers performed, but young Michael Jackson joined them at around the age of 5. The group
5?
was initially called Jackson Brothers and later became known as the Jackson 5. They performed in small clubs, cheap venues, and sometimes even strip clubs. Soon, the group began winning vocal talent shows, one after another, largely thanks to Michael. Interestingly, at one of these competitions, their rivals seriously discussed that the Jacksons should be feared because they supposedly had a dwarf lead singer whom they were passing off as a child. Their popularity began to go rapidly by the late 1960s. Michael, who was around 10 years old at the time, firmly established himself as the lead vocalist and the main star. But behind the curtain of success,
Hang on, that sound like it was Jam. Hold on, let me hear this.
Vocalist and the main star.
That Jam, y'all? That Jam? Big boy, big
Behind
boy.
the curtain of success, there was a heavy price that young Michael had to pay.
Hey,
During the first half of the day, he attended school
I ain't gonna jam.
and spent hours rehearsing, leaving him no time for anything else.
Dear Michael from Long Beach, Deanna Carroll, who's 16. What school do you go to? Do you go to a school?
Yeah, I go to private school in the valley.
Do the kids stare at you because you're so rich and famous?
You know what I mean? I don't like that little fake laugh. Ain't everybody surrounding this man? Golly, 10 years old. Golly. Dang, bro, Mike. I wanna be like Mike. It's like, dang, bro. Mike really never had a real childhood for real, bro. Y'all think about it, bro. Us at 5 years old, at 10 years old, y'all, we was jumping on trampolines, having a good childhood, man. This man right here was singing in strip clubs. You know what I'm saying? Man, they had no type of childhood. Ain't had no type of fun. You know what I'm saying? Dang, his dad really did. I'm like, dang, Joseph, man. Gotta be that hard on your children. You could be, you know what I'm saying? Like, I realize you wanted the best for your children, bro, but ain't gonna lie, Joseph, you probably was ODing, bro.
Do they stare at you? Not because of it.
It's kind of a school like the kids already in the business, like.
There are other singers, dancers, and aerialists, and jugglers, and tumblers, and so on.
And these rehearsals were often brutal, causing Michael to hate his father more and more each time.
And if you miss a step, expect to be
let me go back. You just said that you would practice the dance steps and your father would be holding a belt in his hand. Is that what you just said?
Why he do that to his nose though, bro?
He would tear you up if you missed.
And I heard that, you know what I'm saying, his dad used to make fun of his nose, bro. You know what I'm saying? Mike, bro, you ain't have to mess up your face, bro. You know what I'm saying, man? Look good just the way you were, bro.
Too much.
You gotta do that to your nose, man. You gotta get no plastic
Would
surgery,
you only
bro.
use a belt?
Why do you do this to me? No, more than a belt.
What else would he use to hit you with?
Ironing cords. Whatever's around.
He broke his nose and got surgery and kept doing it.
Throw you up against the wall as hard as he could.
When he was beating you, did you hate him?
He was gonna switch.
Strong hate. That's why to this day I don't lay a finger on my children. I don't want them to ever feel that way about me. Ever. And he didn't allow us to call him Daddy. And I wanted to call him Daddy so bad. He said, I'm not Daddy, I'm Joseph to you, you know?
Michael didn't want to be like his father. He wanted to be like James Brown. There would be many parallels between Jackson's life and career and that of the legendary artist. Brown's music broke all the traditional rules of popular music in the 1950s and 60s. Melody and softness were replaced by rhythm and groove. James Brown was the second most famous performer of his
Boy,
time,
he in splits.
second only to Elvis Presley. His stage presence, performance style, and musical approach became major inspirations for Michael.
I couldn't refuse to give this award tonight because nobody has influenced me more than this man right here.
1968 became a breakthrough year for the Jackson 5. They were discovered by Motown Records, and after years of hard work, the boys, who had barely experienced childhood, finally began to see what they had been working toward. However, the contract was far from ideal. The label had full control over the group's repertoire, and they were only paid for music that was officially released. They could spend months in the studio without releasing anything and earn nothing in return. But this was the reality for young artists at the time, so the Jacksons didn't complain. For them, it was a chance to become stars. After long struggles and disagreements, they finally released their first single a year later.
That's my tail right there, but I ain't gonna lie. Just cause I love you, don't you be there, just to be hard. Oh, baby, give me one more chance. Just cause I love you, don't you be there, just in your heart. Hey, man. Ain't gonna lie, Lil Mike used to go crazy.
Released their first single a year.
What you say, Mike?
They released their first album.
I wanna be like Mike.
The label created a promotional narrative claiming that Diana Ross had discovered them, which is why the album carried her name. In the years that followed, they released several more successful albums, with some songs climbing high on the charts.
I'll be there.
However, just as quickly as the Jacksons rose to fame, they began to lose it. Around the same time, in 1971, Joseph Jackson learned that their main competitors, the family group the Osmonds, had released a solo single by one of their members, which significantly boosted the popularity of Donny Osmond. Joseph decided they needed to do the same with their own lead singer, Michael. In 1972, the single Got to Be There was released. That marked the beginning of the solo career of the man at the center of our story. Over the next few years, several solo albums followed. One song in particular stood out and became a major hit.
Hey, bro, I'm gonna keep it real with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I the only one that peeps like when it comes to like I'm typing in that song. What that song was, Mike? I wanna be like Mike.
In particular, stood out and became a major hit.
Yeah, man. I ain't gonna lie. I'm finna be playing some Ben. Oh. Nah, though, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, am I the only one that realizes that? And this is when it comes to like every artist. Like, even when it comes to Taylor Swift. Oh my God, Jay, listen to Taylor Swift. That ain't right. I listen to Taylor Swift, bro. I don't care what nobody say. Taylor Swift hard. And like I said, y'all don't listen to rap other than Nipsey Hussle. And like I said, I don't even listen to Nip all his songs like that. I don't listen to really 3 songs. You know what I'm saying? The Streets Chose Us. You know, Face of the World. You know what I mean? Like, I listen to his same song. I don't listen to really 4 Nipsey songs, bro. I don't listen, you know what I mean, no crazy junk, you know. But other than Nip, bro, I listen to straight music, like straight women singing. You know what I'm saying? Straight just singing, bro. But Taylor Swift, bro, Back to December, bro. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. I want y'all to go. Hey, bro, I need y'all to go look at Taylor Swift Back to December, bro. Y'all welcome. Bro, that girl was speaking, but bro, Taylor Swift, bro. Ain't gonna lie, my top 5 artists of all time. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Taylor Swift, tough. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. I see why them Swifties go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Taylor Swift, tough, bro. Taylor Swift. Who else I listen to? You know, Cyndi Lauper. You know what I'm saying? Like, Cyndi Lauper is definitely, you know what I'm saying, Fi. You know, who else I be listening to? You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, I listen to a lot of artists, man. A lot of good artists, bro.
As the Jacksons began earning more from
Taylor Swift mostly.
Solo projects.
Back to December, Anti-Hero, All Goes Well. You know what I mean? She had this song with Ed Sheeran. You know what I'm saying? That right there was hard right there. I forgot the name of that. I'm going to look at it right now. I'm going to tell you on my playlist right now. I don't have like her. One thing, and what I was saying, one thing I realized, bro, is that when it comes to artists, bro, you know, like their best songs are their old ones for some reason. You know what I'm saying? Their best songs are their old ones. I listen to Mariah Carey too. You know what I'm saying? But their best songs is their old ones, bro. You know what I'm saying? Who else? I listen to Ruth B. I need to go listen to Ruth B. Ruth B. If by a Chance. Ruth B. Dandelions. Ruth B. Mixed Signals. I listen to Kalani. But Taylor Swift, Come Back Here Hard. You know what I mean? Taylor Swift, Begin Again. Taylor Swift, Cruel Summer. And these songs, like, I mean, it's Taylor Swift. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, these songs is kind of underrated for her. You know what I mean? Taylor Swift, August. You know, I listen to Taylor Swift a lot. It's really like my favorite artist. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I just like listening to people that freaking talk about things. She just talk about things, bro. You know what I mean? Talk about things. A lot of things, bro. A lot of these people, they just listen to freaking beats. I listen to lyrics. Like, what are you saying here? Like, Back to December, bro, she was talking some real stuff, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Joseph
And, you know, like I said, bro, you ain't got no turn songs. I just said I don't listen to rap, SWB. You know what I mean? I just said I don't listen to rap. You not just hear what I just said, SWB? Are you stupid? I just said I don't listen to rap at all. You got turn songs? Are you stupid? You want to become 25? You're this close to becoming SWB_25. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, bro. You know what I mean?
Decided to take a closer look at where the money was going. Despite their success, it was clear they were earning very little compared to what they were generating for the label.
Labels?
Eventually, Joseph quietly negotiated a more profitable deal with CBS Records. Motown Records was not happy about this, seeing it as a betrayal. After all, they had made the Jacksons famous. But regardless...
They making you money. What you mean? What are you talking about, bro?
Jackson family, it was a much better opportunity. By this time, Michael Jackson was already widely known. He could no longer walk down the street like a normal child and simply enjoy life. At just 9 years old, he was already performing in strip clubs. And by 15, he had been deliberately introduced to sex with a prostitute, an experience Michael later described as traumatic. There was money, but CBS Records was dissatisfied with their next 2 albums, which underperformed commercially. The Jacksons asked the label to give them full creative control over their next record. Reluctantly, the label agreed, and it paid off. The album Destiny, released in 1978,
y'all remember I said that? Y'all remember I said the labels? You know what I'm saying? I feel like the Jackson 5 could have went to the next level with themselves. But it's the labels. I'm trying to tell y'all, the labels are the real winners. You know what I'm saying? The labels are the real winners. I try to tell y'all that, bro.
The biggest hit was Blame It on the Boogie.
Don't blame it on the good times. Blame it on the boogie.
Around the same time, Michael suffered a fall on stage and broke his nose. He required surgery, but the initial procedure was unsuccessful, leaving him with breathing problems. This led to a second rhinoplasty. The surgeon was Stephen Heflin, who would later become Jackson's personal plastic surgeon and perform several more procedures. As you know, this became one of the most discussed topics in the media, although in reality,
Got him,
the
bro.
number of surgeries was often exaggerated. One of Michael Jackson's biggest insecurities was his nose. His brothers teased him with the nickname Big Nose, even though he had inherited it from his father. Ironically, Joseph Jackson himself did
That nose looked better than the nose he had, bro.
which Michael clearly understood was absurd.
Is it true that your father used to say you had a fat nose?
Yeah.
What did he say? What did he actually say?
God, your nose is big. You didn't get it from me.
Joseph
nose looked better, bro.
consistently denied ever abusing or mistreating him.
You never physically harmed him?
Never have. And I raised him just like you would raise your kids, you know. But harm Michael for what? I have no reason. That's my son. I loved him.
Say, let's get into this beating thing. There's no such thing as beating a kid. You whip them and punish them for something they did, and they will remember that. So they remember in such a way they wouldn't do it again. That's the way I was.
I wouldn't want to look in the mirror.
Really?
And my father teased me, and I just hated it. I cried every day because of it.
Your father would tease you about your
Yes, he would
pimples?
tell me I'm ugly.
Your father would say
Yes,
that?
he would. Sorry, Joseph.
Yeah.
However, despite all of this, one event would change Michael Jackson's life. He starred in the film The Wiz. The leading role was played by Diana Ross, while Michael played the Scarecrow. The film was a box office failure, but for Michael, that didn't matter, because it was there that he met Quincy Jones, a musician, composer, and producer who would soon have a massive impact on his career. Quincy saw something in the young artist that went beyond just a talented vocalist. After the film, Michael returned to performing with his brothers, but he no longer felt the same connection. He began to realize that his brothers, his father, and even the label were holding him back rather than helping him. Secretly, he reached out to Quincy Jones and asked him to help produce a solo album. Although this didn't mean he was leaving the group, his brothers reacted coldly. After all, the group's popularity largely depended on Michael. The industry also doubted the collaboration. Quincy Jones was respected, but seen as more traditional, and few believed he could produce a modern R&B album. Soon enough, however, he and Jackson would go on to win multiple Grammy Awards. Together, they created the breakthrough album Off the Wall, which achieved massive commercial success.
You all night.
On the surface, everything
That boy Mike had some hits, bro.
Off the Wall, which achieved massive commercial success. On the surface, everything looked perfect. A young, energetic performer dominating the charts. But behind the scenes, Michael Jackson was deeply lonely, struggling with acne, insecurities about his appearance, and constantly avoiding journalists, afraid of uncomfortable questions. And he still wanted to break free from the control of his father, who continued to demand complete obedience and refused to accept any resistance. Once again, in secret, Jackson met with attorney John Branca. He told him he had only two goals: to become the biggest star in show business and the richest one. Branca's job was to make that happen, and he did. Branca also secured a deal allowing Michael to leave the family group at any time without penalties, and legally ensured that he would never have to record with his brothers again if he didn't want to. What Michael truly wanted was something much simpler: to walk through a park like a normal person. The lack of freedom weighed on him so heavily that in the early 1980s he developed a strange routine. He would glue on a fake beard, wear an old hat, dress like a homeless man, and wander around Los Angeles unnoticed. But it didn't last long. One day he entered an antique shop and and the owner assumed he was a thief and called the police. Jackson was terrified. He tried to explain to the officers that he was Michael Jackson. They didn't believe him and took him to the station. After that, he never attempted anything like it again. In 1981, Michael once again reached out to Quincy Jones to begin work on a new album, one that would surpass everything he had done before. This decision created tension within the family. His brothers continued releasing music as the Jacksons, but their commercial success was nowhere near the level Michael was already achieving as a solo artist. Quincy assembled a team of top musicians and songwriters around Michael, but unlike the rigid studio system he had experienced at Motown, here he was given far more creative freedom. Quincy didn't see Jackson as just a performer. He treated him as a collaborator and partner. Michael could spend hours debating harmonies, tempos, and vocal delivery, and his opinion mattered. A new vision began to take shape, to expand the dance-driven sound of Off the Wall, adding a harder edge, elements of rock, and a broader sonic palette. Some songs Michael created from scratch, while others he selected from dozens of demos sent by songwriters. Hundreds of ideas were reviewed and rejected. He had one goal: to create a great album. Michael Jackson wanted his music to be universal, to resonate with children, teenagers, and adults, regardless of race or gender. That vision became Thriller. And it wasn't just another breakthrough.
It's a hit.
It was a cultural explosion. This album made Michael Jackson the biggest artist in the world. Then came the legendary music video Thriller. In it, Michael walks his girlfriend home, only to transform into a zombie and dance alongside creatures rising from the grave. The production cost a record-breaking $500,000, and the impact was enormous. The video essentially created a new format, the cinematic music short film.
He can't add thrilling. He gonna get copyrighted. I already know.
Michael broke down a barrier that had long divided audience by race. The idea of black music versus white music began to fade. There was just music that everyone could enjoy. And one of the key songs that helped shatter that divide was Billie Jean. Billie Jean became the most important song of Michael's career. The inspiration came from letters he received in 1981 from a woman who was the father of one of her twins. Jackson received many such letters and had never even met her, so he ignored the claims. But she kept writing, expressing her love for him and questioning how he could ignore his own flesh and blood. The situation disturbed him so deeply that he began having nightmares. Eventually, Jackson received a package containing a photograph of the woman, a gun, and a letter demanding that he take his own life at a specific time. She claimed she would do the same after killing their child so they could be together in the afterlife. Later, the Jackson family learned that the woman had been admitted to a psychiatric hospital. The creation of the song itself is just as striking.
I didn't even know that.
Michael would often hear melodies in his head.
I thought Billie Jean was like somebody Michael actually dated. That right there just cleared up a lot. I thought Billie Jean was actually, you know what I'm saying, Mike, like a girl that Michael actually dated, you know, had problems with, you know what I'm saying? I am the one. Yes, up my house. You know what I'm saying?
I'm completely absorbed.
So bro made that off of
once. He was so focused on a musical
Crazy fan
that he didn't notice his car had caught fire until a passing motorcyclist alerted him. He would also sometimes build melodies using beatboxing. Jackson had disagreements with Quincy Jones over this song. Michael was convinced it would be a major hit. According to some sources, Jones considered it too weak for the album, although he later denied this himself. Jones didn't like the demo version of the track and wasn't impressed with the bass line. He also wanted to cut the 29-second intro that Jackson had created. However, Michael insisted that the intro remain. According to Jones, he gave in when Michael said that the music made him want to dance. And when Michael Jackson tells you this is what makes me dance, well, There's nothing left to say. His signature move became the moonwalk, which had originally been invented back in the 1930s and later performed by several dancers. Michael even paid one of them $1,000 to teach him the move.
I wanna be like mine. I don't know how the freak bro did this.
To teach him the move.
Please tell me how the freak you moonwalking.
Wait.
What the freak is wrong with this?
It's like
how the freak
pushing and.
Can you tell me how this man moonwalking?
Teach him the move.
How the freak this man moonwalk? He's just gliding.
It's pushing and.
His concerts reached a whole new level. The crowd would go completely crazy when Michael appeared on stage. It was during the Motown 25th anniversary special that the image of Michael Jackson we know today was born. The glittering jacket, the sparkling glove, and the moonwalk.
When I did Motown 25 and I did the moonwalk for the first time, I was backstage crying afterwards because I was unhappy.
You cried after Motown 25?
Motown 25. But then as I was walking to the car, there was this little boy, he was like 12, he was a little Jewish kid, and he said, "You're amazing. Who taught you to ever dance like that?" And for the first time, I felt I did a good job because I know children don't lie, and I just felt so good about it then.
You felt so good, you probably wanted to say,
In 1984, Pepsi offered a massive contract. Michael and his brothers were supposed to appear in a commercial and receive a huge amount of money, although the singer himself wasn't very enthusiastic about the offer. He didn't like Pepsi, and he already had enough money, but his managers, including his father, and representatives from the label insisted that it would bring in millions and further strengthen his image. In the end, Michael gave in to the pressure and signed the deal, even though he felt like he shouldn't. It was as if his intuition was warning him not to do it. During the filming of the commercial, a pyrotechnic effect malfunctioned.
So if he would have never did that, he would have never got burnt. Oh, man.
Hair caught fire. He was rushed to the hospital with 2nd and 3rd degree burns to his scalp. The incident instantly made headlines.
That's why you got to trust your gut, y'all. Trust your gut. Trust your gut.
Pepsi issued an apology, promised to cover all medical expenses, and offered Jackson substantial compensation. At first, there were rumors that he would sue Pepsi, but the situation was ultimately resolved peacefully. Michael publicly announced that he donated the entire $1.5 million settlement to burn centers. At the same time, the media claimed that Michael wanted to become white in order to achieve greater success, that he was undergoing skin treatments, bleaching his skin, and so on.
And I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help, okay? But when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
In reality, Jackson had a rare genetic condition called vitiligo. As the disease progresses, the skin loses melanin, causing white patches to appear. Over time, these patches grow, merge, and eventually the skin becomes extremely pale, almost translucent. Vitiligo can worsen due to stress and certain medications, which is why the condition became more noticeable after the burn incident. Unfortunately, Michael struggled to look at himself in the mirror.
And so when you look in the mirror now and the image that looks back at you, are there days when you say, well, I kind of like this, or I like my hair today, or
I'm never
I think I'm pretty cute today?
No, I'm pretty cute today. No, I try not to look in the mirror. I really do, because I'm never happy with what I see. So I go on with my work and get it done.
His brothers didn't want to leave Michael on his own and pushed for joint performances, even though he was no longer interested in them, especially because it meant close involvement with his father again, who would be organizing the shows. In the end, Michael agreed, and it turned out to be a mistake, because his father came up with a scheme that, even today, 40 years later, sounds unbelievable. Joseph proposed turning ticket sales for the Victory Tour into a lottery. Months in advance, anyone who wanted a ticket had to send a check by mail. One ticket cost $30, and the more tickets you bought, the higher your chances, with a limit of 4. So you could pay $120 and simply wait for the results. only about 25% would win, while the rest would be left watching from home at best. Joseph planned to put all the money into the bank and earn a substantial amount of interest from it. Michael was against this scheme, but he couldn't stand up to the family on his own. When the scheme became public, all the accusations were directed at Michael Jackson, not at his father or his brothers. In response, he stated that he had opposed this model from the very beginning, that starting from the third concert, they would change the system, and that he personally would donate all his earnings to charity. At that moment, he promised himself that he would never perform with his brothers again. But a few years later, the situation would repeat itself. At the same time, there were numerous legal battles. Different people filed lawsuits claiming that Jackson owed them percentages from previous contracts, or that they had been producers of certain concerts. There was a constant and chaotic flow of money everywhere. Michael increasingly realized that he needed a strong lawyer and manager, someone who could filter out accusations and demands. That's when Frank DeLeo joined his team, an experienced manager who would take control of Jackson's affairs for several years. Together, they developed a PR strategy for the tabloids. One day, Michael heard about a hyperbaric chamber, supposedly very beneficial for health. He briefly mentioned it in an interview. The tabloids immediately picked it up and reported that Jackson had already bought one for $200,000. Jackson and DeLeo decided to use this and created an entire story that he was planning to sleep in the chamber and live to 150 years old. He was even photographed inside it, and through various indirect channels, the story was fed to the press. The effect was enormous. In the late 1980s, exactly when the wildest rumors about Jackson began to spread, countless plastic surgeries, skin bleaching, and even stories that he wanted to buy the skeleton of the Elephant Man. At first, he enjoyed these rumors, but soon he grew tired of them because Jackson had become an easy target for the tabloids. People could make up absolutely anything about him, publish it, and someone would believe it, simply because it was Michael Jackson.
Simple-minded.
By the time Bad was released, Michael had slightly changed his image. He began wearing black outfits, belts with buckles, and metal details, creating a more aggressive and edgy style. This also became the last album he worked on with Quincy Jones. In 1991, Dangerous was released. By that time, his dominance in music had started to decline as rock was rising in the industry and new youth idols were emerging. Nevermind overtook Dangerous.
Bro, I never listened to rock a day in my life.
Which was, of course, unpleasant for Michael, even though the album still produced major hits.
It's a black or white.
At the time, Michael Jackson was not focused on music at all. The early 1990s were extremely difficult for him. In June 1990, he was hospitalized due to severe chest pain during one of his intense dance rehearsals, which were part of his weekly routine. When he was brought to the hospital, he was holding his chest and looked pale, weak, and seriously ill. Numerous tests were immediately conducted, but everything came back normal. However, experienced doctors understood that it wasn't a physical condition, it was a panic attack. After leaving the hospital, Jackson once again decided to completely restructure his affairs, firing his main manager. He did the same with his lawyer, John Branca, who had spent years securing highly profitable deals for him. Jackson began producing films about himself, where his friends and acquaintances would talk at length about what an amazing person he was. He also criticized other musicians, claiming they couldn't sing, including Madonna. The only bright moment during that period was his performance at the Super Bowl, which became one of the most iconic in history. It is especially remembered for its powerful finale, where he stood surrounded by children and performed "Heal the World." In one of his interviews, Michael said there was something more important to him than music: helping sick and underprivileged children. Every 3 weeks, groups of children with serious illnesses or from difficult backgrounds would come to Neverland Ranch.
Because I didn't have it then, I compensate for that.
Really?
I mean, people wonder why I always have children around, because I find the thing that I never had through them. You know, Disneyland, amusement parks, arcade games.
In the 1980s, Michael met a 12-year-old actor, Emmanuel Lewis. At Michael's mansion, they would play games, pretending to be animals or cowboys, rolling around in the grass like little kids. The story reached its peak when Michael and Emmanuel checked into a luxury hotel, registered as father and son. What exactly happened there is unknown, but shortly after that, they stopped seeing each other. Notably, Emmanuel never made any accusations against Michael Jackson and defended him during all future scandals, even after the artist's death. A major scandal erupted in 1993. Dentist and screenwriter Evan Chandler filed a police report claiming that Michael Jackson had molested his 13-year-old son, Jordan Chandler. At the time, Chandler was at the peak of his career and had written a screenplay for a 1993 Robin Hood project. At the same time,
Ain't gonna lie, you lying about that? Gotta be a sick mother effer if you lied about that. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. You just lied about something like that, you gotta be a sick mother effer, bro, for real, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know how you can really live with yourself knowing that you lied about somebody. You know what I'm saying? Your son, bro. That's kind of weird, bro.
Told a sensational
But people weird, so
claiming that Jackson had reached into the underwear of Macaulay Culkin, the star of Home Alone. Culkin himself had visited Neverland multiple times and always denied that Jackson had ever touched him inappropriately. Jackson owned his own estate, Neverland Ranch, where he spent time with children.
So if if the kids is denying, you know what I'm saying, this, I'm pretty sure if Michael Jackson was doing something, somebody would have came out and said something. I'm just saying, so if the kids denying it, then why y'all still trying to come up with this story? Like, where did this story come from, bro? Like,
Park, a zoo, and a movie theater inspired by Peter Pan, a character Michael deeply loved.
Childhood, never growing up, magic, flying, everything I think that children and wonderment and magic, what it's all about. And to me, I just have never, ever grown out of loving that or thinking that is very special.
Do you identify with him?
Totally.
You don't want to grow up?
No, I am Peter Pan.
Oh, you're not your Michael Jackson.
I'm Peter Pan in my heart.
Soon, tabloids began publishing headlines like Peter Pan pedophile, similar accusations. A police search was conducted at the ranch. Detectives interviewed around 30 children, all of whom stated nothing of a sexual nature had occurred. Meanwhile, others continued to spread rumors and damage Jackson's reputation for money. A former security guard claimed that Jackson had asked him to dispose of a photograph of a naked boy. However, he told this story to newspapers, not the police, and was paid $150,000. A former housekeeper, Francia Blanca, claimed that she had to quit out of disgust for allegedly seeing Jackson in the shower with a child. She received $20,000 for this statement. However, another maid later testified that Blanca had not quit, but had actually been fired for poor performance 2 years before the alleged incident. When Michael received a Grammy in 1993, he delivered a very emotional speech addressing the accusations. A bold move.
I wasn't aware that the world thought I was so weird and bizarre.
The following year, details of the accusations began to emerge, giving Jackson's lawyers significant arguments. First, it's important to note that Jordan Chandler's parents were divorced. Evan lived separately and was unhappy that his son was spending far more time with Jackson than with him. The breaking point came when Evan once saw his son and Jackson lying in the same bed, fully clothed. After that, he took action. First, he cut off all contact between his son and Jackson. Second, he attempted to demand financial compensation from the celebrity, even before going to the police. Chandler called David Schwartz, the new husband of his ex-wife and Jordan's stepfather, and said he was going to destroy Michael Jackson. Schwartz recorded the call in which Chandler claimed he would win big, get everything he wanted, and referred to Jackson as a son of a bitch. However, the person he later referred to in that way was actually private investigator Anthony Pellicano. Pellicano met with Jordan the next day and directly asked him about abuse. The boy initially said that nothing had happened. Chandler did not stop. He contacted a psychiatrist and described a hypothetical situation. Without ever speaking to the boy, the doctor wrote a 2-page letter stating that there were grounds to suspect abuse. The next day, Chandler finally obtained a statement from his son, claiming that Jackson had touched him inappropriately. However, this statement came shortly after a dental procedure, while the boy was under the influence of medication, meaning he was not fully conscious. After that, Chandler approached lawyers and demanded $20 million. Negotiations failed, and he then went to the police. In late August 1993, a group of detectives arrived at Neverland and conducted a search while Jackson was on tour. No evidence was found. Children who stayed at the ranch stated that nothing inappropriate had occurred. Later, Jordan gave a detailed description of Michael's genitalia. Jackson was then subjected to a humiliating procedure. He was forced to undress in front of prosecutors, lawyers, and doctors. Ultimately, the description did not match.
It was a nightmare, a horrifying nightmare. But if this is what I have to endure to prove my innocence, my complete innocence, so be it. Throughout my life, I have only tried to help thousands upon thousands of children to live happy lives. It brings tears to my eyes when I see any child who suffers. I am not guilty of these allegations, but if I am guilty of anything, it is of giving all that I have to give to help children all over the world. It is of loving children of all ages and races. It is of gaining sheer joy from seeing children with their innocent and smiling faces. It is of enjoying through them the childhood that I missed myself.
All of this ended in a settlement, with Michael paying $15 million. However, as one juror later said, he had not heard a single substantiated piece of evidence proving Jackson's guilt. Still, a large portion of the public believed he was guilty and trusted what was written in the tabloids. And yet there were many other stories the media could have written about. For example, in 1994 at a hospital in Budapest, Michael Jackson met a young boy named Bela Farkas, who had been born with a severe liver defect and abandoned by his parents. He urgently needed a transplant, and Jackson paid not only for the surgery, but also for the next 10 years of his treatment. The boy eventually recovered, was adopted, and grew up healthy and happy. Or the story of Daniel Parisi, a boy who was infected with HIV due to a medical error during a blood transfusion. In 1997, before a performance in Milan, Jackson invited the boy and his mother to his dressing room and spent time talking with them. But the most touching moment happened during the concert itself, when during one of his songs, Jackson held the boy in his arms in front of tens of thousands of people. Later, the boy's mother wrote him a letter. "I will never forget what you did for my son. After your meeting, doctors spoke of a miracle, and for several months it felt as if he had never been ill. My child is no longer with us, but I know he is always watching over you from above. He never forgot what you did for him. God bless you." And there were dozens of such stories. Over his lifetime, Michael Jackson donated approximately $300 million to charity.
$100 million to charity.
I love to do things for children, and I try to imitate Jesus. And I'm not saying I am Jesus. I'm not saying
We're clear. Yeah. You got to go in and say that, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know how they, oh my God, Michael Jackson tried to claim to be Jesus. Michael Jackson claims to be Jesus. You know, that's how people do, man. People flip words and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So you had to go and just, I'm not trying to,
love to do things.
I ain't cleared it up, man. I ain't cleared it up. You know what I'm saying? Think what you want. I know what I said. There's one thing that Mike was doing, bro, that I feel like kind of destroyed him. He was just focused on what other people were saying. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've come to the reality, bro. You feel me? That like for me, like I'm not clearing up no rumors, bro. I'm talking about people could make the most absurd rumors about me. I'm never going to speak on them. The truth will come to light. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I know the truth. God knows the truth. So why the freak I care about what you think? You're the weird one. You the weird motherfucker, not me. You know what I'm saying? If you believe something that you have no evidence of, you're a weird motherfucker. So the people that believe it is weird, the people that made up these stories is weird. I ain't weird. I know what I did. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Michael cared about what people thought too much. I feel like he cared about what people said too much. You know what I mean? That kind of destroyed him. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, you just don't need to pay attention to that, because one thing people gonna do is talk. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that I had to understand, especially by being in the spotlight. You know what I'm saying? Is that people just gonna talk, bro. People gonna make up things. Like I said, somebody made up me getting shot. You know what I'm saying? He said, for real, MJ, my idol. He shouldn't have any idols. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. But anyways, man, yeah, it's kind of bad having an idol. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you shouldn't have an idol. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I was saying though, man, like freaking like just don't pay attention. That's why I deleted all social media. I told y'all, man, somebody made up a rumor about me getting shot. You know what I'm saying? When I was looking at the comment section back then, y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like made up a freaking rumor about me getting shot, saying I got shot, bro. Weird stuff like that. Like, and I'm looking back at the comment. When I was looking at the comments back then, I'm looking at the comment like, what are you talking about? Like, what type of weird mother effer just make up something talking about I got shot? Like, what? It's just weird, bro. People are just strange. Like, it's just weird like that, bro. You gotta understand that most of the people in this world are weird. You gotta understand that, bro. Most of the people in this world are weird, bro. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people. They don't think it's weird. He don't even think it's weird by making up I got shot. He don't even think it's weird. Tell me how you don't think that's weird when you making up me getting shot. Why would you even make something? Why would you even think like that? But he think that's okay. You see what I'm saying? One thing about weird people, they think what they do is not weird. This junk is OD weird, bro.
Imitate Jesus, and I'm not saying I am Jesus. I'm not saying
We're clear on that.
Right. I'm trying to imitate Jesus in the fact that he said to be like children, to love children, to be as pure as children are, and to make yourselves as innocent and see the world through eyes of wonderment and the whole magical quality of it all. And I love that. And we have we'll have like 100 bald-headed children here who they all have cancer, and they're running around and they're enjoying themselves, and it just makes me cry happy tears that I was able to do that for them.
Most of these acts of kindness Jackson kept hidden from the public, not wanting to draw attention to himself. Because true, heartfelt compassion does not require recognition.
Thank you, bro. That's another thing we got to speak about. You know what I'm saying? Another thing we got to speak about. I genuinely believe that anybody that gives to a person in need and it's recorded, you're not genuine. I'm sorry. Please tell me. You know what I mean? Even Jesus say don't do it for attention. Please tell me. Even Jesus ain't do it for attention. You know what I'm saying? When Jesus gave to the needy, when Jesus performed miracles, you know what I'm saying? Like, wasn't doing it for attention. Only a couple of people were with him sometimes, probably, but you know, I don't know, bro. I feel like things like that just don't need to be seen. You know what I'm saying? Honestly. Like a lot of people do things for recognition. You know what I mean? Yeah, your ways, what you did is good, but your motives is all over the place.
This kind, selfless, and compassionate man, who helped thousands of children around the world for decades, ultimately received the label of a pedophile.
I want to set the record straight that if people hear a lie long enough, people believe it. That people have lied on me. I'm a black American and I'm proud of it. And I'm honored of it. The bleach skin rumor, which is a rumor, I don't bleach my skin. They once said I wanted a white kid to play me as a child, which was a rumor.
Crazy.
Inauguration rumor saying I
just lying.
Do President Clinton's inauguration. I'm not gay. This says, don't judge a person unless you have spoken to them one-on-one, which is true. Because what you hear is a lie, untrue. I can't make out this part there.
It is illegible in portions, that's true.
And Jesus said to love the children and be like children, be youthful and be innocent and be pure and honorable. He was talking to his apostles, and they were fighting over who's the greatest among themselves. And he said, whoever humbled yourself like this child is the greatest among me. And he always surrounded himself with children. And that's how I was raised, to believe and to be like that and to imitate that.
During the scandal, he married Lisa Marie Presley, daughter of Elvis Presley, but they divorced a year and a half later.
Hey.
During their marriage, they were often asked inappropriate questions that clearly irritated Jackson.
We want to know if you've done the thing.
Michael, I know that this is an intimate question, but are you having sex together with Lisa Marie?
Do you guys really love
Why are you asking them weird? You see how weird people is? Like, I'm not finna ask them. Why do I care about what Michael Jackson is doing in his bedroom? Y'all see that junk? And they'll look at it. Michael Jackson is a human being. I don't idolize Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is a human being to me. And these idolizing weirdo mother effers will think I'm crazy by saying this. If I seen Michael Jackson today, I'm not asking for no picture. I will walk right past Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't even there. You feel me? Straight up, bro. I literally don't idolize mother effers. Mother effer a human being, bro. Don't give a F. You know what I'm saying? Say, oh yeah, that's Michael Jackson. Going by my merry little way, bro. Nothing. Oh, can I get a photograph? Can I get a seen famous people before, bro? Look at him and be like, oh, I told you I was working at Publix, but I seen Cam Newton walk right in front of me. Oh, that's Cam Newton. Continue bagging my groceries. I'm not finna follow you and ask you for a picture. Motherfucker, you do everything I do. You doodle, you pee, you put on the shoes, you put on. Like, it's nothing different about you, bro. If you're not Jesus Christ himself, if you're not Jesus Christ himself, God the Almighty, the heck with you.
Having sex together.
Like, look at this. Look how weird people is, bro. She think this is a normal question. Look at this.
I know that this is an intimate question, but are you having sex together with Lisa Marie?
Do you guys really love each other, or you're just doing this to satisfy the media?
Are you guys intimate?
How do you care?
Again, I can't believe it. This is about the skepticism.
Yes, yes, yes.
Later, he married again, this time to nurse Debbie Rowe, who had cared for him during his treatment for vitiligo. The couple had 2 children, but divorced in 2000. Later, he had a 3rd child through a surrogate mother. Despite losing endorsement deals, his albums continued to sell well. His songs topped the charts, and thousands attended his concerts. It began to seem as though the scandal had been forgotten. He continued living with his children at Neverland Ranch and actively performing until 2003, when he once again faced allegations of child molestation. This time, even more serious. It all began when he agreed to let British journalist Martin Bashir film a documentary about his life. Bashir visited Neverland and openly questioned Jackson's behavior, including the idea of sharing a bed with children.
But is that right, Michael?
It's very right. It's very loving. That's what the world needs now. More love, more.
The world needs a man who's 44 sleeping in a bed with children.
No, you're making it all wrong.
After the documentary aired, a wave of moral panic erupted. The media began portraying him as a potential threat to children. Once again, articles, scandals, and heated debates flooded the public space, quickly escalating into chaos. Even Eminem decided to mock him in his work. Jackson was deeply hurt by the song and video Just Lose It.
I'm gonna make you dance, get your chance. Yeah, boy, shake that thing. Oops, I mean girl.
I've never met Mr. Eminem, and I've always admired him, and having him do something like that was pretty painful as an artist to another artist. And it's sad because, well, I think what Stevie Wonder said is true. And I just don't want to say too much more than that. But he should be ashamed of himself, what he's doing. Stevie said he's bull***, is what he said.
District Attorney Tom Sneddon, who had been involved in the 1993 case, reopened the investigation. He interviewed Gavin Arvizo, one of the boys featured in the documentary, along with his parents. Gavin was a cancer patient. His father had approached Jackson asking for financial help for treatment. Jackson personally met the boy in the hospital and later invited him to Neverland. This was in 2000, when Gavin was 10 years old. The cancer went into remission, after which Jackson stopped inviting him to the ranch, until reconnecting again shortly before the documentary was filmed. He invited him to his ranch to give an interview for British journalist Martin Bashir. Footage showed them walking together, holding hands. Because of this, the prosecutor focused on him first. During questioning, Gavin claimed that Michael Jackson had molested him and his younger brother, offered them wine disguised as soda, and publicly masturbated. Moreover, all of this was alleged to have happened after the documentary was released. On April 21, 2004, Jackson was charged with 6 counts, including conspiracy to abduct children, extortion, false imprisonment, and 7 counts of child molestation. He faced up to 18 years in prison. The situation almost perfectly mirrored the events of 1993. The accusations were largely supported by former Jackson employees, who first sold their stories to tabloids and then appeared in court, along with the boy's family. While the former employees' motives were relatively clear, the Gavin Arvizo family was a more complex case. During the trial, it was revealed that years earlier, they had already received $150,000 in compensation from a supermarket chain through deception. Gavin's mother, Janet Arvizo, had claimed she was beaten by a security guard. But it later turned out that the guard was not involved. It was her own husband who had assaulted her. Gavin's younger brother Starr claimed that Jackson had shown them a pornographic magazine. In court, the defense attorney presented the magazine and asked if he had seen it before. The boy confidently said yes, that it was the exact same one. The attorney then pointed out that this would mean Starr could travel through time because the magazine had been published months after the boys had stopped visiting Neverland Ranch. Next, defense witnesses were heard.
Like I said, y'all, I stay neutral in this situation. I'm not going to say what Michael's done. I said it in the beginning of my video. I'm saying it now. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, what Michael's done. I'm not going to be like what he hasn't done. Because I do not know Michael Jackson personally. I am a person who stays neutral. I'm not believing what I hear, but I'm not saying that he didn't do it either. You know what I'm saying? That's how you need to be. You feel me? You need to be neutral. You know what I mean? Because you just believing that somebody ain't do something just because he's your favorite artist. It's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? The best thing, what people need to do, need to learn how to do, and that's just a mature way of thinking. You need to learn how to just be neutral, because you don't know Michael Jackson from a can of paint. You don't know none of these people from a can of paint. You never been around Michael Jackson ever in your life. Never been around him. Don't know him at all. You know what I mean? So what you think is irrelevant. That's really, all you can do is be neutral. Okay, here are the things. Be neutral. I see Michael Jackson as Michael Jackson. I don't see Michael Jackson as a pedophile. I'm not saying Michael Jackson didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying Michael Jackson is neutral. I don't know anything, so I'm seeing Michael Jackson as Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? That's how I live. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping it real, bro.
It was revealed that during Gavin's illness, his father had contacted many celebrities.
I'm just a neutral person.
Telling them about the
I don't speak on things I have no knowledge of, bro. It's just not in my character.
For example, George Lopez initially provided financial support for treatment. However, he later concluded that the father was more interested in money than in his son's health and stopped paying. In response, the father accused Lopez of stealing $300 from his sick child and threatened to go to the police.
That's why you gotta be really, really conservative, man. You gotta be really, really careful, bro, on who you involve yourself with, bro. You gotta be really, really, really careful, bro.
Lopez called him an extortionist and cut off all contact. Among the witnesses were also teenagers who had lived at Neverland at different times. They continued to insist that no abuse had ever occurred. Macaulay Culkin testified in court and denied claims that Jackson had behaved inappropriately toward him. On June 13, 2005, Jackson was acquitted on all charges. After his death in 2009, FBI files were declassified, stating that the Bureau had found no evidence of criminal behavior by the singer. After the trial, Jackson became reclusive. He closed Neverland and left the United States for Bahrain. It later became clear that the once immensely successful artist had spent most of his fortune and was on the verge of bankruptcy. Jackson released no studio albums, sold off assets, and largely disappeared from public life. In early 2009, he held a press conference, though he appeared visibly exhausted. He announced a new show titled This Is It.
He should have just stayed away, man. Michael Jackson would have just stayed away, bro. Just stay. The best thing you could have did, bro, is that. The best thing you could have did, bro, was just stayed away.
It was planned as a series of 40 concerts, and all tickets sold out on the very first day. After years of absence, fans hoped to see the King of Pop return in full glory. And he had to deliver something extraordinary, because this was Michael Jackson. That's what he always did. According to those who worked with him, he wanted the show to be perfect. He pushed himself through intense rehearsals, even at the age of 50, already a demanding age for a dancer.
This is it, and see you in July.
But sadly, in July, we never saw him. Less than 3 weeks before the first concert, on June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson died at his home in Los Angeles from cardiac arrest. The cause was acute intoxication from sedative medications administered by his personal physician Conrad Murray. If there were any true rumors about him, they concerned his dependence on painkillers. He first began using them after suffering severe burns to his scalp in his youth. He later continued during the 1993 allegations to cope with stress. Over time, Jackson developed a dependency, which he attempted to treat, but the treatment did not have lasting results. In the final years of his life, he regularly relied on powerful medications to deal with insomnia and stress. Murray was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 4 years in prison. If this were a fairy tale, I would say the king lived happily ever after. But our world is far from a fairy tale, and the king spent much of his life misunderstood, unhappy, and alone. Rest in peace, Michael Jackson.
Ah, man. It's effed up, man. It's effed up, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say, man, F fame, man. You know what I'm saying? F freaking fame, bro. You know what I'm saying? F fame, man. You know what I mean? But like I said, though, man, the best thing to do, y'all, get off social media, man, and just disappear. I'm not going to say disappear, but, you know what I mean? This is the harsh reality when it comes to anybody. You know what I mean? If you care about what people think, you would never, ever be able to live happy. And I feel like that is what took Michael Jackson's happiness away from him. Him focusing on what people saying about him. Knowing that, okay, I'm not doing nothing with these children. So why should I care about what these people say? Just think about it though, y'all. You know the truth. So why are you worried about what somebody else saying when you know the truth? You know the truth. Just think about it, bro. Everybody else believe in a lie, but you live in the truth. So who makes that the weird? But you let other people's false opinions change the way you look at yourself. I never understood that when it comes to people. You think I'm on Twitter? You think that's why I said, that's why I had to train myself to not look at the comments. 'Cause I used to look at comments way back then. I had to train myself to not look at YouTube comments. I look at the Twitch comments, but I can control this. That's the only reason like I said, I can. It's more love on Twitch than it is bad comments. You got some of them try to troll me, they get banned. So I can control this chat. But like I said, YouTube, bro, I ain't got social media. I told y'all, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and I'm going to keep it like that. You know what I'm saying? But YouTube, I don't look at no comments. I upload a video and get off. I know it's people speaking bad about me. I know it's people speaking good about me. At the end of the day, I know my truth. You know what I mean? I know why I said what I said. I know why I am how I am. You know what I mean? And I like me. And I think I'm real. I love me. You feel me? I can look at myself in the mirror. You feel me? So it's like what you say don't matter. God loves me. You know what I'm saying? God loves me. God adores me. God thinks good of me. So that's all that matters to me. What you say is irrelevant at all. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, you got to train yourself to not care about what people think, because you constantly just looking at comments. Like, train yourself to stop looking at comments. You know what I mean? Or delete social media. Watch how better you feel, bro. You know what I mean? Not caring about what people think. You just loving yourself. You feel me? So, yeah, man, make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn the bell like a video. That was a sad video, man. That was a crazy video, man.